Alright, what's up everybody? Back with another edition of Everyday Hoops. Hope you guys are having a good one. Today we're going to be talking about Bradley Beal and the Washington Wizards. The situation has gone a lot more news and added layers to this as the last few days. And we're going to talk all about it. Potential trade partners, potential spots, potential all these things for the Washington Wizards. Thank you guys for the views on the videos and the shorts recently. Really appreciate it. If you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Re-ups that a lot. And yeah, I don't want to waste any more of your time. Let's get right into it. So this all started a few days ago when a report came out by Shams Charania, of course, and Joshua Robbins of The Athletic, where it was a tweet that said, if the Washington Wizards do start and want to go into a rebuild, they will work with Bradley Beal and his agent to find a trade for him. Now, a lot of people, I feel like, are taking this a little bit differently. He did not request a trade, and the Wizards did not come out and say that we are going to trade Bradley Beal. It is a thing of, if we do want to trade, or if we do want to go into a different direction, we will work with Bradley Beal, and he will get to where he wants to go. See, the big thing about Bradley Beal as well is his contract is very insane. I think we all know about it. Last offseason, he signed a 5-year, $251 million contract, which is a lot of money. The breakdown of it is, last season he got paid $43.2 million. This year he's going to get paid $46.7 million. Next year, 2025, he'll get $50 million. 2026, he'll be getting paid $53.6 million. And then he has a player option in 2027 when he's 33 years old. That could be worth $57 million. Then after that, he'll be a free agent, which is an insane contract for a guy of Bradley Beal's status. Now, we're not saying Bradley Beal sucks or isn't. Bradley Beal's an all-star level player. He's really good. He's been the best player on the Wizards for a while. He's been really, really good. But the money, you would want Bradley Beal with this kind of money to be a top 10 player, a top 15 player in the NBA, and he's not that. You know, he's not a number one on a playoff or championship level team. He's a really good second, third option, obviously, but number one, I don't know. And these are numbers that, you know, a number one. These are contract numbers that a number one superstar type player would get. He also has a no trade clause. The only player in the NBA with a no trade clause, meaning that he basically has a choice to where he goes. You know, if they present a trade to him, he has the right to say, nah, I don't want to go there. So which makes things a little bit more interesting, because the Wizards now can't just send him away for whatever they think is the best. You know, they have to kind of listen to Bradley Beal, which is why they're going to work with him if they do want to rebuild and make trade, because they have to, because he has the no trade clause. So basically, he's got full rights of where he wants to go. The Washington Wizards, of course, is all brought up as well because the Wizards did hire a new GM, new front office. Michael Winger, who used to work with the Clippers, is now the new GM of the Washington Wizards. He brought over some more people. And the Wizards have just been very average. I made a look-in video about the Wizards. I'll put a card up here somewhere. You can go watch it, where I basically have like, the Wizards are just average, and they can't really fix it. The Wizards have been just stuck in this place of mid. It's crazy. Like, they're never good enough to be a top-tier contender or top good playoff team, but they're also never bad enough where they're the 15, 14 seed. They're always stuck around the 8 to 12 range, where it's just like weird of like, okay, we barely made the playoffs, or we just made the play-in, we barely missed the play-in. It's like they're not great or they're not horrible. They're kind of stuck in between, and I feel like eventually they're going to have to pick a side. You can't just be average forever, because then you're never going to grow or get better, you know? So they're going to have to make a lot of decisions with that. And now with this whole Bradley Beal news coming out, it honestly makes me a little bit excited and not. Excited because this is probably the most open it's probably been for a Bradley Beal trade. And it's a big news, obviously, in the offseason. We want to see the most moves possible. But also, I don't want to get my hopes up, because there's definitely a very real world Bradley Beal is still a Wizard next year. You know? And honestly, I was very surprised when this came out, because I was sure that Bradley Beal was going to be in Washington for at least another 2 years, because I didn't think any team would even want to touch that contract until maybe he's on the last year or second to last year of his deal, Well, he's still gonna make 53 million, but it's not like you have to pay him 43, 46, 50, 53. It's like maybe last year of his deal type type thing. But now, teams are open, trading him. One big talk of the team, of course, is the Miami Heat. Miami Heat came out after losing the finals. A lot of people think they want to go after a star. Damian Lillard's been a guy named, and now Bradley Beal being open. It's a very real option. It's very realistic. I would really like that for the Heat a lot more than. Well, I think it's a lot more realistic than Dame. Obviously, Dame's a better player, but I think it's more realistic to get Bradley Beal because Brad Windhorst actually reported this a few days ago that the Wizards' price for Bradley Beal might not be as high as you think. Of course, Bradley Beal's really good. They really care about him, but It's not. You're not gonna have to give up as much as you're gonna have to give up for Dame. For Dame, you're gonna have to give up a young player with potential, salary filler, some first-round picks. You're gonna have to give up a lot for Dame. For Bradley Beal, you're gonna have to give up maybe a solid young player, a pick or two. Of course, obviously you have to put contract filler in because of that money, but you're not gonna have to give up half your franchise for Bradley Beal. That's why Miami's very interesting because they do have Tyler Hero, who's still 23. He's still showing some potential, and the Wizards I think because it's the Wizards, they would take a Tyler Hero, be comfortable with a Tyler Hero. Of course, they're also probably gonna have to throw in Kyle Lowry, maybe Duncan Robinson. One of those two might be on the trade, and then a pick or two. But Miami does have the picks. They have the contract filler, and they have Tyler Hero. And honestly, I think that's enough to get Bradley Beal in Miami. I think that's probably the most suitable or probably most easy spot to get to would be Miami. Another team that just came out and said they're pursuing the Bradley Beal, an interesting one, the Sacramento Kings. It's a very interesting spot. The Sacramento Kings kind of the miracle story of this year. They went from being out of the playoffs for 16 years in a row to being a top 3 seed. Took the Warriors to 7 in the first round. Showed some real promise of the potential future in Sacramento. And now a guy like Bradley Beal, I feel like that's kind of the next step. But the thing about the Kings for me that would be cool and not cool is like I don't want the Kings. I feel like if you're Sacramento, put in an offer of a Beal, but only if you can get him on a steal. Like, of course, they have De'Aaron and DeMontis, I feel like are untouchable. That's the two. Keegan Murray, the Wizards are going to ask for Keegan Murray. For the Kings, I wouldn't personally give up Keegan for Bradley Beal. I don't know what they think. They probably think Keegan's really good as well. I wouldn't give up Keegan for Bradley Beal. But after that, I feel like it's kind of fair game. Kevin Huerter, they have Davion Mitchell. Potentially the Wizards could talk themselves into thinking Davion Mitchell still has some potential. He's been a backup. Now he'll get a more opportunity in Washington. They have draft picks. I don't know about the contract money, though, unless they do a sign and trade. Well, would the Wizards want Harrison Barnes? Because Harrison Barnes is really the only guy that would make money. Everyone else in the team doesn't make a lot of money. So I don't know how the contract and salary would work. But they have Keegan Murray. They have not Keegan. They have Kevin Huerter. They have Davion Mitchell. They got first-round picks. It's a decent spot. I think it would be if I'm the Kings, I'll put an offer in just to float out there, see what's there, but don't try to force it. Because I still think even if you do bring this same Sacramento Kings team back, it's still gonna be a very good team. It's not gonna be make or break. I think Bradley Beal would be a good option, and he would fit that team. I don't want them to overpay and try to get desperate and trade or Keegan Murray or something like that to get Bradley Beal. You know what I mean? That was an interesting spot. Some other spots have been named but might not happen. The Celtics. But they said Boston right now their first priority is about Jaylen Brown, getting them there, and I don't know about a Jaylen Brown Bradley Beal swap. If I'm Washington, that would be absolutely. If I'm Washington, I say yes to that 100% of the time. Why? Go from Bradley Beal to Jaylen Brown. But if I'm the Celtics, I don't know. I think that might be a little bit of a downgrade, and also the pay. Like Jaylen Brown's gonna get a big contract. Bradley Beal basically kind of has a similar contract, just maybe 1 or 2 less years on it. So it's like, what's the point in that? And then the Philadelphia 76ers have been a team that's been named as well because of the James Harden situation and them kind of maybe needing a spot. And with the asking price not being super high on Bradley Beal because the Sixers don't have a lot to trade to get a star. Potentially a deal with like Tobias, a bench player, and then a couple picks. Maybe could get the deal done. I've seen that mock trade a lot, but the Sixers are also a team. They said they're not in the mix for Bradley Beal right now, according to Mark Stein, which is very interesting. The Knicks, of course, have been talked about a little bit. Even the Bucks, I've heard on some things that they potentially could be interested. I don't know what that package looks like either, But it's gonna be very weird, or not weird, but it's gonna be very interesting to see what team and what actually happens with this. Because the Wizards don't have just Bradley Beal; they have to think about the whole direction of the roster. They have the number 8 pick in the draft. Kristaps Porzingis and Kyle Kuzma both have player options. Kyle Kuzma most likely will decline, and I honestly feel like Kyle Kuzma not going to be in Washington. I kind of want him not to be in Washington. I want him to go somewhere else. Porzingis, I feel like, is going to stay. I feel like Porzingis kind of doesn't mind being in Washington, especially with, he kind of went there and kind of revived his career. I feel like Porzingis is cool staying in Washington. I don't know about Kuzma, and then you have Bradley Beal as well. And even if you do re-sign Beal, Kuzma, Porzingis, have this team left, what's the ceiling of this team? A 7 seed, 8 seed, especially with the Eastern Conference. You have the Bucks are still going to be there, the Celtics are still going to be there, Sixers are still going to be solid, Cavs, the Knicks are still going to be in there, the Heat are still going to be a team you have to worry about. The Hawks potentially could be better. The Raptors, I don't know what's going on there. The Pacers are going to be better. The Magic, I feel like, are going to have a big year next year. So at this point, right now, they're looking at about maybe an 8-9 seed, which probably, yeah, they make the play-in. Maybe even if they do win the play-in, they're probably going to lose in the first round anyway. So are we going to do all this and pay all this money to Beal, Kuzma, Porzingis, and all this just to be a borderline playoff team? I don't understand. At this point, I really want the Wizards to just blow it all up. I mean, there's no really point in having any of this. Doing all this to be a 8 seed in the East is kind of crazy. And I think it starts kind of with Bradley Beal being moved on. I think Bradley Beal will be a perfect addition to a team like the Heat or a championship team because he doesn't need the ball in his hands. He is a great shooter, can score off the ball, kind of has a lot less pressure on him now that he's in another team. He's got other superstars to back him. He hasn't really had that since he became good. Of course, he had John Wall, but at that point, he wasn't the player who he is now with John Wall. He was more of an off-ball 2 guy. In Washington, without John Wall, he's more of the main dude, obviously. He was putting up 30 a game a few years ago. So, I mean, Bradley Beal is great. He'll be a great complimentary second and third piece to a really good team. And I think it should be time for Washington to just blow it all up, please. Get rid of it, but I'm not getting my hopes up high because it's Washington, and we don't really know what's going to happen. The Wizards might convince themselves and believe in themselves that if we bring back Kuzma, Porzingis, we can be something that they're not going to be. Whatever. But I want to see Bradley Beal traded. I want to see him moved. I'm just not really getting my hopes up. But Washington, please. Please, Washington, do the right thing and just trade him. And let's restart this thing. Yeah, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, if you enjoyed the content around here, consider subscribing, like, turn notifications, do all stuff like that. I really appreciate it. Really helps out a lot. And I will see you guys tomorrow.